Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel, where we talk about Tom Clancy's The Division and all things Division related, as much as I know and as much as you know and as much as we can share in the community. So today I wanted to talk about something that I feel at this point that the Division developers could take, I would say, notes from, and this is in the area of PvP. Now, many of you know, content creators or even community members likewise, know this, that I am not a PvP player in Tom Clancy's The Division, nor am I in The Division 2. And I've been this way for a long time, especially with the way the PvP structure is set up. In fact, it has, in some cases, spurred up some notion that I am not a PvP player at all, that I'm not, into any kind of PvP because I'm actually bad, I'm a scrub. Let's be very specific. I'm a scrub and bad at The Division and the Division 2 PvP. Yes, I don't engage in those because those PvP styles don't fit the way that I enjoy PvP. But I've been evaluating and I've made videos along the lines of this, in different contexts and under different conversations. But I feel like now that we're towards the end of the game in the Division 2, the developers can actually take notes in order for them to understand how PvP can work in the Division and the Division franchise. If they're going to be working on a Division 3, what can they learn from that experience so far? Because if you look at the Division 2's PvP, it has not in any way served any intended purpose, unlike the way the Division 1's purpose was. The Dark Zone was a huge part of the end game for Tom Clancy's The Division 1, whereas in the Division 2, it is not the case. The end game is raids and all that stuff. Not saying that that's a bad thing. As a PvE guy, I think that's fun. I mean, I'll go play whatever content I want to play, but if the PvP was end game for a lot of people, they would still be in a place where the Dark Zone will always be this experience that people would return to. Now, we can argue atmosphere, we can argue systems, we can argue mechanics as things that may have deterred a lot of people from playing the Division 2's PvP compared to the Division 1, but give me one moment so that I can try to put some things in a small construct for you. So I've noticed something about heavy-hitting PvP games. And when I say heavy-hitting PvP games, I'm talking the games that bring in a lot of players, and then, subsequently a lot of, financial gains for the company. But you look at Rainbow Six Siege, you look at Activision's Call of Duty franchise, you look at Overwatch, you look at some of these PvP games, and there is something to the effect that makes these games successful. Now, none of them are as complex as The Division. That's not what I'm saying. But I think I've been able to narrow down the thread that holds these games together and why they're in somewhat of a contrast from The Division itself. Not only does the complexity wear the Division game out, the Division's PvP modes are not as structured as the PvP modes of these games that I've actually, spoken of. I'm talking Overwatch, I'm talking Rainbow Six, and I'm talking about Call of Duty. And I think these methods can even be brought into the Division in a different way, where the PvP modes are just only, if not anything, structured. Now, yes, the Dark Zone will be its own sandbox. The Dark Zone will be its own playbox. But why are we not seeing, or did we not see, an extensive list of PvP modes in the Division 2 that would have attracted a lot of players? They had some modes, one mode specifically from the Division 1, which was Last Stand. This was the mode, as a PvE guy, that I actually did play. I was one of those people who ran around taking out NPCs to get points for my team, while some people engaged in the PvP. This was a very smart way to bring players from all walks in order for them to be able to just do everything together and try to achieve the goal. Whenever you try a way to synergize player activity, and in order for them to reach a common goal, what you're doing is you're opening the door for more player participation. In fact, in Destiny and Destiny 2, basically, there's what they call the Gambit. One of my good buddies here was actually in in kind of some Gambit move, and they said, let me show you this, come with me. So they took me to the Gambit. I played it, and I had a lot of fun because there was a PvE side to it as well as a PvP side. So there is something that seems to be a trend when it comes to what your PvP should look like. There should be structure, and there should be something that pulls people in regardless of one area that they are. Now, this brings me to the PvP game that I actually do play and invest a lot of time in. I just discovered that my PvP playtime on Mortal Kombat 11 is climbing on 300 hours. Now, add this to the, almost 900 hours I have on The Division in terms of just one account, and then almost 200 hours on another Division account and my Division content creation. I still find myself in, little seasons where I sneak in about an hour a day playing Mortal Kombat because the game does have some things that are attractive to me. Yes, I'm a fan, been a fan since, when I found out about the franchise as a young lad, but there is something that's really interesting in the way they've set up their PvP modes. And please note that this hourly, comparison that I'm putting together is just PvP. And at the time I don't play in the Division PvP is the time I actually do spend playing PvP here. And I wondered what will tie a game like Mortal Kombat to all these other games, or what will bring a player like me who plays a very enjoyable game in the PvE side like the Division, but yet when it's time for me to PvP, I go on to another game. And I think that's something that you can basically say is the way that our PvP is structured in the Division game. You have an unstructured PvP. You have a PvP where people can actually play freestyle, but you don't have any structured PvP where people can actually come in to play when all the scales are balanced. And when I say scales are balanced, I'm talking about everybody knowing exactly what to expect. If you're running in Last Stand, even which is a PvP mode, you don't know who's going to hit you with who's going to hit you with a sticky bomb. You don't know who's going to stick you to one spot so that they can burst you down. It's a very weird guessing game that sometimes can really make the experience not so much fun for a lot of people. But when you come to a structured PvP game, say like, maybe what's the name of these modes they call them in Call of Duty? Maybe Team Deathmatch. Yes, you know that there are classes of weapons, you know that there are specific structures, or in the case of Overwatch, you pick specific character archetypes and everybody knows or is aware of what these characters are capable of doing, and their abilities do not vary like the Division does. So what you're going to see is games that have these kinds of systems that are tied to them are going to continue to gain popularity, while games like the Division's PvP, if it doesn't borrow that concept and use it in its own iteration, is going to continue to fail its audience, because these things do play a role. And that's why you see that many games who send their PvP modes out there, who actually deploy these modes, are doing well. Mortal Kombat 11 came out a month after the Division 2, and till date, it is still very relevant. In fact, because it's a fighter, I'm not trying to compare both of them, but I'm saying it's going to have a 4 or 5 year span. And when NetherRealms brings out their next fighting game, which is most likely going to be some Injustice or superhero game, that's another game that's going to run them for 10 years. They are literally selling DLC upon DLC and basically racking in more money doing this. Why would the Division not use this idea to start racking up structured PvP modes and putting them for their player base? That really beats me. And I feel like the developers can basically take notes from all of these different games that I've mentioned, because they have something that is clearly attractive to players. And I think that one of those things, or one major thing, is the way they structure their PvP. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to share in this video. I happen to just be on the side where I play the fighters, but I can, in my opinion, say that this is probably, the case for many other players who play the Division PvE, but then go into the PvP in other games, regardless of what game it is, because they want to experience something that is quite fair, not backstabby like the Dark Zone's idea, which is a fun idea. Nothing wrong with the Dark Zone idea. It's nice on paper, but it's a very different group of people that usually enjoy that for an extended extensive period of time. What I've seen is some people will enjoy the Dark Zone, no doubt. They'll enjoy everything about it. But then after everything, there's just there's not too much predictability. And for many gamers, we like and love routine. We like predictable, outcomes in a sense. I mean, we want to kind of test our might against somebody, some other person, not somebody who's going to find some OP, thing, and then nobody really knows what it's about. Whereas if you look at the other games I've called, even the case of Mortal Kombat 11, what every character is capable of doing. You have information on every character. You have frame data, all those things that tell you that this character is able to do these things, and it's your job to go back and actually learn them. In the case of Call of Duty, you learn the map because if somebody's using a sniper or whatever, this is where they're going to post. So these things are quite interesting in the way that they play, and you can call all those dynamics whatever it is you want to, but the Division seems to be lacking in these areas. And I think if they will implement these things, they are bound for making a successful iteration of PvP in the Division 3. If not, they're going to basically deliver the exact same mistake that they did in the Division 2's PvP, and even some of the mistakes in the Division 1's PvP. And I said that, yes, Division 1's PvP is not free of mistakes, but it is somewhat of a better iteration than the Division 2's PvP nonetheless. I'll get out of here. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys a lot. Peace.